What is up, everybody? I'm coming to you tonight from the corner of this hotel room where I've got this light and those lights along that wall don't work. But what we're going to do today is go to the 3-minute tip. We're going to talk about camera settings for shooting basketball. Let's cue a little bit different type of intro, shall we? Photographers are really interested in camera settings, and rightly so. We have to have the proper exposure to get the correct photo. We're going to talk about basketball a little bit. The first setting we're going to talk about is the type of focal point. Now, generally, your cameras are going to have multiple focus points when you look through the viewfinder. What you want to do is set it on a single point focus, continuous focus mode. It varies what that name is, whether it's Nikon, Canon, Sony, Pentax, whatever. But it's a single point and it's continuous focus, so that as the player moves and the focus changes, it'll still keep that focus in line. Now, what I do is when I'm looking through the viewfinder, their center point is going to be right there in the middle of the viewfinder. That's not the one we're going to use. We're going to go one spot up, and that one is the correct focal point that we want to use in this single point focus. Why do we want to do that? Let's take a look at this image. I want to throw that single point focus right there in the chest. The way your automatic focus works on your camera is it tries to find contrast. That's why if you have your camera focused at a single color wall, it'll constantly hunt for that focus. So what we do is we get that single point focus, throw it right in the middle of the chest where the numbers and the words are, because that's where most of the contrast is going to be. And in turn, the face is usually in line with that, and you're going to get that face in focus as well. Again, some people tend to shoot basketball in a vertical format because it's a vertical game. As I've said in this video here, I tend to shoot horizontal. And then if I have a shot like this that I think would be a better horizontal, well, I just crop it to make it vertical. Now, we've quickly gone over what we want to do as far as the focal points. Now we go to the other settings, the stuff that you're going to find in your EXIF data. You want the player to be as sharp as possible. That means no motion blur is key. The way I do it is I always take an exposure reading on whatever court or arena that I'm shooting, and then I start putting some priorities in my mind. I need a sharp photo with no motion blur. I want my shutter speed to be as high as possible. That being said, I've also got to control noise and the depth of the focal plane. That's part of the exposure triangle that we deal with that you learn in the very beginning when shooting in manual mode. Because some arenas, such as high school basketball, are dark, I do have in my mind minimal shutter speeds. My general rule of thumb for minimum shutter speed is for high school basketball, women's, I go no lower than 1/640th of a second. For boys, no lower than 1/800th. With those, the majority of my shots will come out in focus. The speed of the game is a little slower than what it is as you get to the higher ranks. Now when I get to college, then I bump it up. The women's, no lower than 1/800. The men's, no lower than 1/1250. Those aren't my preferred shutter speeds. Those are my minimal shutter speeds. The reason college shutters are a little faster than high school, the college athletes are the best of the best from high school, and they tend to move a lot quicker. Ideally, I would like to shoot 1/2000th of a second, whether it's men's or women's. But the next thing I have to look at is how much noise is going to be in the shot. If it's too dark, it gets too noisy. This is where knowing your camera helps out a lot. The bodies that I use, I'm very comfortable shooting at ISO 3200. I have very minimal noise there. Once I get to, say, ISO 6400, I start seeing noise, so I will start adjusting my shutter speeds down toward that minimum before I start going up for ISO 6400. As far as the f-stop, the lenses I use are 2.8, and if I've got a bright enough arena. I like to shoot f3.5 if possible. The majority of the games I've shot are f3.2. But if I have a dark arena, it goes to f2.8 before I start messing with my shutter speed. Again, my goal is to get the shutter speed as fast as possible with a little bit of depth of field without having too much, because I still want separation from the background and I want to have as little noise as possible. My priority is not to go below 1/640th of a second for high school women and 1/800 for high school. If you run with those settings, you'll come away with some great photos. If you've enjoyed this content, please check out some of my other videos. Hit the subscribe button over here, I think. Maybe over here. Over here. Hit the little notification bell so that you'll see future videos when they're available. Also, hit the like button to help other people find this video. And feel free to leave a comment about something that you may have a question with. I'll be happy to answer. Until next time, see you later.